Power down the system and disconnect the AC adapter. Then power on the system and continually tap F1 to enter the BIOS. If you receive a General Help window, press Enter to continue. Use the right arrow key to select the configuration menu. Use the down arrow key to highlight the power menu and then press Enter. In the submenu, use the down arrow key to highlight the Disable Built-in Battery option. Press Enter and then verify that Yes is highlighted. Press Enter again to accept. The system will automatically power off. Allow 3 to 5 minutes to cool before servicing the system.
Locate the notches on the keyboard frame and use a non-metallic pry tool to press the frame up. Loosen the 6 captive screws. Pry up the front edge of the keyboard, then slide it forward and flip it over on the system. Disconnect the track point and keyboard cables from the system board and remove it from the system. Remove the 3 rubber screw covers and loosen 9 captive screws. Use a non-metallic pry tool to pop the clips around the edge of the system. Lift the bottom cover from the system. Disconnect the battery from the system board. Remove 4 retaining screws. Lift the battery from the chassis. Press the retaining clips outward to release the memory module. Grasp the module by the edges and pull it from the slot. Repeat for additional modules. Remove a single retaining screw. Pull the solid-state drive from the slot. Disconnect the battery from the system board. Peel the battery up from the system. Disconnect the 2 antenna cables. Remove the single retaining screw. Pull the wireless LAN card from the slot. Disconnect the fan cable from the system board. Using a cross pattern, loosen the captive screws. Loosen the final captive screw on the fan assembly. Lift the heatsink from the system. Disconnect the speaker cable from the system board. Remove 2 retaining screws, 1 from each speaker. Lift the speaker from the system and remove the cable from the cable guides. Lift the last speaker from the system. Disconnect the card reader cable from the system board. Remove a single retaining screw. Peel up the cable from the chassis and remove the card reader. Disconnect the cable from the system board. Remove the cable from the cable guides. Use a non-metallic pry tool to peel up the logo LED from the chassis. Disconnect the DCInCable, the LCD cable, the TrackPad cable, the card reader cable, and the logo LED cable from the system board. Remove the 2 screws from the I/O bracket and remove it. Remove the screw from the USB bracket and remove it. Lift the system board from the chassis. Disconnect the TrackPad cable from the system board. Peel the cable from the chassis. Remove 4 retaining screws. Lift the base of the system and remove the trackpad. Remove 3 retaining screws from the hinge and open it. Disconnect the cable from the system board. Lift the DC-in connector from the chassis. Disconnect the DC-in cable from the system board. Disconnect the LCD cable from the system board. Disconnect the antenna cables from the wireless LAN card. Remove 3 screws from each hinge. Lift the base of the system and slide it out from the hinges. You are then left with the LCD panel. Using your fingertips, pull up on the bottom edge of the LCD bezel and pop the clips apart. Do the same thing around the edges and across the top and lift the bezel from the LCD assembly. Disconnect the camera cable from the camera. Use a non-metallic pry tool to lift the camera from the adhesive and the chassis. Remove 4 retaining screws. Lift the panel from the top and flip it over. Disconnect the LCD cable from the panel and remove it. Remove the LCD camera cable from the cable guides. Disconnect the cable from the camera. Carefully peel up the logo LED from the top cover. Remove 3 retaining screws. Lift the hinge from the system. Repeat for the other hinge. Peel the wireless LAN antenna from the top cover, being careful to not rip the tape. Remove the antenna from the cable guide. Repeat for the second antenna.